کنفرانس پارلمانی در مجلس عوام انگلستان در ادامه کهکشان مقاومت ایران سال 1402 2023 برای اعلام بیانیه مشترک 525 تن اعضای مجلسین عوام و اعیان از همه احزاب در حمایت از قیام مردم ایران و طرح 10 ماده‌ای خانم مریم رجوی برای یک جمهوری دمکراتیک با جدایی دین و دولت. قسمت آخر.
سخنرانی‌های دکتر جاسلین اسکات، حقوقدان برجسته و قاضی سابق، استاد دانشگاه کمبریج. جان اسپلار، وزیر نیروهای مسلح انگلستان 2001، معاون کمیته دفاع در پارلمان. راجر لاینز، رهبر پیشین اتحادیه‌های کارگری انگلستان. طاهر بومدرا، مدیر بنیاد عدالت برای قربانیان قتل عام 67.
دکتر جاسلین اسکات: من افتخار می کنم که در کنار شما خانم رجوی و همه زنان ایران برای آزادی، عدالت، دموکراسی ایستادم. صدای زنان ایران خاموش نخواهد شد.
Fight for freedom, justice and democracy. Your voice and the voices of the women of Iran stand clear. No government based on autocratic rule is legitimate. No government that fails to recognise women's right to equality is democratic. No government that denies women's rights is permissible. No government that oppresses, even murders, women who wish only to be free to wear hair coverings or not wear them is lawful. No government that fails its duty to the people. You, Madam Rajvi, together with the women of Iran, have fought for decades, building upon the strength and the courage and the power and persistence of women over centuries to gain equal rights for women and democracy for all Iran's people. For more than 120 years, women have claimed the right to speak, the right to be heard, the right to voice. Predictably, the theocratic rulers of today's Iran resort to violence, torture, murder, and the disappearing of those who stand bravely with a courage that inspires, voicing their right and the rights of all Iranians to freedom, democracy, and the right to be human. Yet women do not stand by, will not stand by, allowing this affront to democracy to remain. Women's rights lie in universal suffrage, freedom of speech, freedom of political parties, freedom of assembly, freedom of the press, freedom of the internet, as you will recognise, Madam Rajvi, from your 10-point plan. Governments around the world must no longer tolerate the regime of the mullahs, allowing the theocratic rulers of Iran to remain. Today, as a woman, I humbly lend my voice to the battle of women, by women, for women, the battle for women's rights, women's equality, women's humanity in Iran. The leadership of women in Iran's fight for freedom must be honoured. I am proud to stand with the women of Iran in this struggle. I am proud to stand with you, Madam Rajvi, and with all the women of Iran for freedom, justice, democracy. The women of Iran, the voices of the women of Iran will not be silenced. Thank you, Madam Rajvi.
جان اسپلار: ما به اعمال فشار بر سپاه پاسداران ادامه خواهیم داد. سپاه یک عنصر کلیدی در سرکوب، شکنجه و سوء استفاده از مردم ایران است.
Currently, I'm also a member of the NATO Parliamentary Assembly and also the Vice Chairman of the Parliamentary Defence Committee. So I have an interest in Iran, not only in terms of human rights and oppression internally, but because all of our experience is that countries that are a threat and oppressors to their own people are also normally a threat to their neighbours as well, or indeed even to wider world peace. And that particularly applies to the regime, the clerical fascist regime in Tehran. So we will continue to put that pressure on to the IRGC, but also to work with other countries to reduce, to contain, to drive back their activities, because that is important for us. But we absolutely recognise that that is absolutely vital for the people of Iran who are suffering under this, and where the IRGC are a key element in the suppression, repression, torture and abuse of the people of Iran. So your struggle is our struggle, not just in your interest and international humanity, but actually in the cause of peace and stability around the world.
راجر لاینز: از زاهدان تا کردستان جانم فدای ایران. این شعار نماد وحدت ایرانیان در تمامی مناطق است.
I agree to you, Madam Rajvi. The Belgians sentenced that man Assidi to 20 years in jail, and now Belgian cowardice has given in to IRGC pressures and released him. And that's an absolute disgrace, which every meeting on the Iran situation should be aware of. Belgian cowardice undermines the concept of EU human rights. If Belgium can do it, where does human rights stand? Now, I bring solidarity from British trade unions and from the world trade unions through the international TUC. But I wanted to say a few words today about the plight of ethnic minorities in Iran. There are 88 million in Iran, and there are many ethnic minorities, and they are constantly being targeted by the Iranian regime and persecuted. We've seen the regime and others try to demonize ethnic minorities and their regions in a divisive way. They portray them as groups wanting to split Iran, but this couldn't be further from the truth. There is one slogan which is regularly chanted at protests: from Zerdan to Kurdistan, my life for Iran. That symbolizes the unity of Iranians across all regions and ethnic minorities. It's a significant indication now that the protests are well organized, with significant leadership, and the protesters have a clear vision for the future Iran. They want an end to the entirety of this regime and to live in a free and fair society where there is a republic that can prosper through economic and social freedoms, and a truly elected government which is held to account by the people in regular, free and fair elections.
طاهر بومدرا: وقت آن است که در منزوی کردن رژیم قاطع و محکم باشیم تا زمانی که شورای ملی مقاومت برای حکومت به جای این جنایتکاران به تهران بازگردد. جنایتکاران حاکم بر ایران به جامعه جهانی ثابت کردند که لایق حکومت بر مردم ایران نیستند.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam Rajvi, I was very angry and disappointed when I heard that Asadullah Assadi was sent back in exchange with Iran for an aid worker. An independent court, Belgian court, that condemned a terrorist to 20 years imprisonment, and the Belgian government decided defiantly to the rule of law and the independence of the judiciary to send him back to Iran. A list is very long of lies and betrayals of the mullah's leadership. And this is documented in my report, the JVMI report, on the executions of 1988 political prisoners. It seems that European institutions, I'm afraid to say that, they have a short memory, a short institutional memory, in the sense that they still believe in the Iranian regime, in what they say. And it is time to stop this kind of attitude. It is time to be firm and decisive in isolating the regime till the democratic NCRI comes to back to Tehran to rule, instead of these criminals who are proving to the international community that they do not deserve to be ruling the people of Iran. Thank you, Madam Rajab.